Okay, so today I'm going to show you one of the projects that I'm working on for the past 6-7 months. So this one is a Terraform project. And this was the first time I was using the Terraform, but I'm very happy with it. So it is much easier than what I was used to do, especially going to AWS or, for example, Google Cloud. So back in the days when you go press button here and there, it was not really scalable. Now, however, in terms of the Terraform, everything is repeatable, so less error prone and this kind of thing. And the most important selling point of Terraform, in my opinion, is that because you're documenting the things, it in a text format, the thing it become more ChatGPT friendly, and we are in an era of the ChatGPT. So previously, when you have some issue, for example, in AWS or something like that, you have to go press button here and there. So it makes it very difficult for you to communicate something like that with ChatGPT. Okay, but when you write everything in text format, life become much easier, because if you have any issue, you just go to ChatGPT, you paste the code, you paste your output. After that, he can assist you. So it is like you have a free assistant, So in my opinion, Terraform was a very big changer because of the combination with ChatGPT. So let me show you the code. So let's go. So this one is the code. Okay, so before we go through the entire thing, let me explain. So the main TF is the place that I am assembling the entire thing, and then I have different modules. So for example, EC2, ECR, Elastic IP, IAM, security groups, something that every project, in my opinion, at least as long as you are uh, as long as you are deploying a website or, for example, server or whatsoever. So I believe that these are some of the common things that you may need. Okay. So let's get into it. So let's first go to the code artifacts. So I have a lot of the code artifacts is something like npm. So when you are pushing your stuff to the npm, you can do it with the AWS as well. Code artifact is the equivalent of the npm. So this one is for private repositories. So since I'm using everything from AWS, I want to keep it simple. I don't want to complicate things, and I'm using code artifact. I have a lot of blogs regarding how to make the code artifacts behave in Medium. Now, I don't know if anybody interested. Maybe later I can do a specific video on this. Please let me in comment below that if you are interested in code artifact, this kind of thing, because it has a lot of tricks. It is not as straightforward. You have to know what you're doing. So, and it has some challenges that if you need it, please let me know. I can let you know. So, but as you can see, everything have a variable. Nothing is hard coded. This is very important for me, because I like all my configuration files be in one location. It makes it more easier to maintain it, etc., etc. After that, for example, check the, for example, previous changes and this kind of thing. But when, for example, the thing is in an environment variable, or for example something like that, it is less, for example, you have a conflict, for example, when you have, for example, 2 project or 3 project, they use the same, for example, naming. So you want to change one, after that in an environment variable, this one. I'm saving all the variables in here in a JSON file. So it's a configuration file. Later I will show you the stuff, but it's something like that. So what yeah, so this one is very important. So the variables, I'm keeping them separate, so you can see that the variables all declare here, nothing again hard coded there. In the main TF, later I show you how I'm reading the variables, etc. and etc. Okay, so I'm reading the variables, yes, but later this one I show you later. So here is the output file, so nothing fancy. So EBS, this one is the place that I'm keeping my my databases, etc. So this one is my storage. So for example, you see I have many storages. So for example, financial Postgres. After that, I have a Keycloak. After that, InfluxDB. So some of them they don't have some of the things that you see here. They don't have front end, but some of them also, it means that they are only APIs. So some of the resources that you see is shared only with the APIs. So this one, you can see everything. So even for example, for the sizes of volume, this one is all come from my configuration file. So you have one central location to change all the variables easily. Okay, and this one also is normally I put it out of the git ignore. I put it in a git ignore, so nobody know that what you do. So this is very good for publicizing your, how to say that, it in publishing the things to the GitHub or something like that. Because although you are doing, for example, open source or something like that, I'm still not very comfortable to share everything. So the people, they don't need to know that how much, for example, how much hard disk I'm using, or for example something more serious about, for example, like security groups. So you don't want to share with people that what are your IPs that you are opening, or for example, what are the IPs that they are, for example, available to public, and so on and so forth. So I like to keep things as secret as possible, but at the end of the day, I want to be open source also. So I see a lot of huge potential in having open source codes, especially after Keycloak, because previously, not recently, it is almost 1.5 years that I'm playing with Keycloak, and yeah, it was a very good experience. So this one is my EBS volume. So as you can see, nothing fancy here. Later, I'm not sure if you are interested. Maybe I can show you how I'm connecting the stuff in my Docker and, for example, Kubernetes or whatsoever also. So because attaching the volumes over there also is, it has its own challenges. So this one is my stuff. Again, the variables, everything is hidden. You see, I'm doing something fancy here. So because I have multiple databases, so yeah, so I'm doing some fancy stuff here. So when we go to the EC2, so the EC2, this one is the brain of the system. So everything happens here. So the main thing about the EC2 that you always consider is your AMI file. So this one is your operating system that they put inside your instance when they run it up. So this one, be more cautious about always be more cautious about what you are using. So yeah, at the moment I'm using Ubuntu, but I played with quite a number of operating system. With this version of the Ubuntu, I am comfortable. Thanks God. Hopefully, touch wood. Hopefully, no issue will happen in the future. But yeah, so every time I'm changing it is a headache. But okay. So instance type, after that, for example, the key, this one is a way that you access to your SSH, those kind of things. So, and security group. So this one is something is very important. So later I will show you, for example, what are the IPs, and after that, for example, what are the ports that are open. So there are some security practices that is very important over there. And yeah, so the amount of the space you have, blah blah blah. So nothing more important in here, at least I can see. So okay, so in terms of the output, so this one is the output that this one is sent. So again, this is all the variables that you can see. So let's go to the ECR. So this one is where I'm keeping my private Docker images. So again, even in terms of Docker, those kind of things, I'm trying to be as open source as possible, but sometimes some stuff I'm not very comfortable to share. So yeah, so you see I have a few Docker images in here. So let's go. So this one is a elastic IP. So this one is your public IP. So this one later you have to connect it to Route 53. So people, they can access, and beside that, for example, you can do your SSH, you can do your maintenance, etc. And you have to open the ports. So this one variable nothing. So the IAM, okay, always maintain the least privilege rule. Don't be like me. Sometimes I am not doing it, but yeah. So always I try to optimize. So I have I have one role for the EC2. So this one, I believe that he only access to let me check, but I believe that he was accessing to the ECR only. Does he do anything else? Yeah, I think it was only ECR. Yeah, so yeah, because he has to pull my Docker images, and after that assemble them together, do Kubernetes or Docker or something like that. So for assemble, for example, for setting up the Docker and Kubernetes, those normally I use Ansible. So if you are interested, please let me again down below, so I can show you some of my Ansible and those kind of things also. So yeah, I'm very big fan of Ansible. No, I'm not a big fan of Ansible like Terraform. Terraform is still nicer. Is more still. But the Ansible has his own challenges. So, but this one is EC2 instances. So this one is the policies. This one is the instance profile and the role name and profile name and those kind of things. So nothing fancy I can see here. Okay, so you see my output is here. Later I have to change them, separate them. So ECR policy. So okay, Route 53. So Route 53 is quite important. So you see everything in here. Also I hidden, although the domain name is quite public, but still I'm not very comfortable to push it to the GitHub. So I just put the domain inside, and after that you put all your you connect your public IP address, the one that just I created in Elastic IP, to your Route 53. So something quite simple, quite straightforward. By the way, you can check the GitHub repository on the description down below if you needed that. So all the resources is in the description. Please check it. And if you go to my GitHub, please don't forget to give me a star. I really appreciate that. I really need that. So okay. So let's go to the security group. So in the security group also, so you see again, I don't like to show what is my IPU, those kind of things. Why in an open source project, I hate to show anything. So yeah, if you see, for example, I open viewports, so common one. So the ingress, the incoming one, so 22 for my SSH, 80 also for HTTPS stuff, 443 is for HTTPS. So and this one, the main thing is that what are the IPs that you are sharing. So you want to be as private as possible on this one, so you don't want to people know that what IPs. Still best practices, because especially the SSH, they can mess you up. So what I see. So output nothing, and yeah. So this one is all the modules. So just go to the main. So this one is where I assemble everything together. So as I mentioned earlier, I like the things to be. I don't like the things to be in environment variable. So if you are, for example, doing something more professional or something like that, you can use, for example, something like AWS Secret Manager, those kind of things. But for my case, that was not an option. The reason that it is not an option is because you have to, if I'm not mistaken, you have to pay 40 cents per secret. That is insane. Now I think I have a lot. I think I have over 40 secrets or something like that. So yeah, that was not an option for me. So what I'm doing is that I have my own JSON file. Okay, so you may ask why you do a JSON file. First of all, there is one issue. This one also, I think I create a blog on it on a Medium. Okay, so there is not really a way to easily access environmental variable in Terraform directly. So it means that, for example, if you want to pass a environmental variable, there is nothing something like .m. Recently, I saw that there is a new package that last year they released a new package that it is called .m. I haven't tried it, but if you have tried that package, it means that it was published by the community. If you tried that package, please let me know how is your experience. But considering you don't use the for example public resources and those kind of things, there is not really a official way to, for example, have something like a .env. Okay, for example, for somebody like me that it is small and doesn't want to use secret manager and so on and so forth. So what's the solution? The common solution that people they use is that when they are spinning the Terraform, they are passing the environment variables and those kind of things. Or for example, they will before the session start, for example, they are how to say that they will set the environmental variables, those kind of things. Okay, so it is not like what I'm trying to say is not like data. Okay, so it is like you have to really set things. Okay, and setting the environmental variables is I don't like to do that, because for example when you have, for example, multiple projects and you want to change one environmental variable that it is the same naming for both of them, so the things get messy and they can collide with each other and this kind of thing. So I don't like environmental variables like that way when I'm using it in my system. So you have to and I don't like to setting the environmental variable before running my stuff, or for example before I'm opening a session, for example. So this is something I totally hate. Okay, and besides that, also another issue with the environmental variable that I hate is that, for example, that everything is here, one environmental variable here, so you don't have a central repository that you can keep everything in one location. Okay, so you have to keep jump up and down, and after that you have to know what is doing what, this kind of thing. But when you have, for example, one JSON file, you can access it directly and see, okay, what's going on. Okay, so that's the reason that I'm using JSON file. What I'm doing about this JSON file also is interesting. I'm keeping it in a Gitignore. So as you can see, it is inside the Gitignore. Where is it? Yeah, so this one is in the Gitignore file. Okay, so you cannot see the guy. By the way, let me check one thing. Yeah, okay. So you cannot see the guy. So I'm not pushing it to the server and so on and so forth. And yeah, so this one is like that. Okay, so then the rest is just wiring it up. Okay, so I'm loading the config. After that, I pass the variables that I'm loading. So for example, you see, for example, this local config is my JSON file. So I'm just passing it. So ECR doesn't have much configuration. So this one that is for IAM roles. So yeah, so security groups. This also I'm just reading them. So in this here, I'm wiring up the things. So it means that I'm connecting for example, the security group to, for example, my EC2, for example, you know, the things that we build in a security. But by the way, one thing nice about the Terraform is that he will resolve the dependencies by himself. What does it mean is that, for example, the security group, those kind of things. So when you do something like that, by default, he knows that EC2 is dependent to the security group. So when he want to create the AWS resources, he will build the security group first, and then he build the EC2. So this one is something interesting it was very interesting for me the first time I learned it. So yeah, so IAM rules and those kind of things, AMI, etc. So EBS Williams, nothing special. So just only have two dependencies. So it's EC2 and etc. So okay, Elastic IP, nothing again. Route 53, all configuration. So yeah, so there is nothing fancy here. So you can go through the code. If you have any question, you can let me know. And I hope you enjoy it. And don't forget to share, subscribe in here. And please always give me a star on my GitHub. I really need it.